Alright guys, so we're going to practice solving by square roots. Basically, it's not much different than when we used to just solve for x, but now we have to deal with this squared piece as well. So, first things first, I can't deal with this parentheses quite yet, so I'm going to go ahead and take this 2, move it over to this side by doing the opposite. I see it's subtraction. Let's go ahead and add 2. So I'm still going to have 2x plus 5 squared on the left hand side. Now on the right hand side, I'm going to have 9. So I'm left with 2x plus 5 squared equals 9. Now in order to get rid of that exponent, we have to do the opposite. When it's the opposite of squared is square root. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So the square root of this, those two cancel out, and I get 2x plus 5. On the right hand side, the square root of 9, if we put that in our calculator, we'll see that gives us a 3. Now, here's the thing though, whenever you take the square root of a number, you're not only going to get a positive, but you're also going to get a negative number. Because both 3 squared and negative 3 squared can give me a positive 9. Now, since I have both a plus and minus, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to separate my two equations to give me 2x plus 5 equals 3 and 2x plus 5 equals negative 3. And I'm going to solve both of these for x. So, subtract 5 here. 2x equals negative 2, divide by 2, and I get x equals negative 1. For my other equation, subtract 5, 2x equals negative 8, divide by 2, x equals negative 4. And those are my two x values. Alright. Now let's move on to a second problem. Let's try this time 6x plus 2 squared plus 2 equals 20. So, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this 2 here. Hopefully you're noticing each time I'm taking care of what's being added or subtracted here first versus dealing with anything else. So, let's subtract the 2. That's going to give me 6x plus 2 squared equals 18. Now I can deal with my 6 by dividing, and I get x plus 2 squared equals 18 divided by 6, which is 3. Now I can take my square root, so that way I can get rid of that squared. Those two cancel, and I'm left with x plus 2. Now this time, when I take the square root of 3 and I put it in my calculator, I'll see that's going to give me a decimal number. It's not a perfect square. So I'm going to leave this in the square root, but I'm going to put my plus and minus right there. Now I don't stop here because I haven't solved for x. So what I'm going to do, still separate, give me x plus 2 equals square root of 3. X plus 2 equals negative square root of 3. Solve both of these for x by subtracting by 2. X equals negative 2 plus the square root of 3. And on this side I get minus 2, x equals negative 2 minus the square root of 3. Notice both answers are not very different. The only thing that's different is this one is subtracting 3. This one's adding square root of 3. So what we could do is just go ahead and combine these two answers, since they are very similar, to say my final answer is x equals -2 plus or minus the square root of 3. And that right there is just some examples of how to solve by square roots.